Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into some truly fascinating source material that outlines a strict cosmic legal framework known as kingdom policy. We're going to look at how, according to these spiritual texts, evidence is actually gathered and used against us in a grand courtroom. We'll explore how this chief prosecutor operates, and most importantly, what this all means for your personal sovereignty. So let's just jump right in. Here's today's docket. We'll be walking through the source material to see exactly how this case is built against you and how to dismantle it. We're covering the courtroom, gathering the hidden evidence, the earthen altar, the power of forgiveness, and wiping the record clean. Section 1. The courtroom, setting the legal stage. Okay, to really get this, imagine walking through heavy wooden doors into a vast spiritual courtroom where your spiritual standing is fiercely debated. On one side, you have the chief prosecutor's table. Now picture this table just totally stacked high with dark, imposing documents. These represent your unconfessed sins and hidden actions. And the prosecutor, well, he operates entirely on the absolute letter of the law. There's zero gray area for him. He uses the strict legal code to demand judgment based entirely on that hidden evidence. But look over to the other side, there's the advocate's table. Here, Jesus is presented as the defense, offering complete salvation and a totally cleared record. The texts frame this not just as some moral struggle, but as a high-stakes, ironclad legal battle over your soul. Section 2. Gathering the hidden evidence, the neurological pathway. Now, what's truly mind-blowing here is exactly how the prosecutor gathers the physical and spiritual evidence to build his case against you. It's not just some mystical concept. The sources link it directly to human biology and how our brains actually work. It's a literal neurological chain of evidence. Think of it like water slowly carving out a canyon over time. It starts incredibly small, right? Unrighteous words are spoken or heard. Those words create these subtle neural pathways that turn into repetitive thoughts. Done over and over, those thoughts manifest as your daily actions. Pretty soon, those actions become learned habits. Over years, those habits solidify into your formed character. And finally, that character locks into with a text called a permanent heart posture. The prosecution isn't just looking at one bad day. They track this entire cascading chain, using it as irrefutable legal evidence of your true internal alignment. But why does this matter so much to the court? Well, because the texts argue this goes way deeper than your conscious habits. Hidden trauma and unconfessed sin actually act as open doors for the prosecutor. The sources give a really great, relatable analogy here. Just like your physical body remembers old scars from, say, falling off a bike as a kid, your spirit retains the deep marks of past trauma. And here's the kicker. Even when your brain deliberately hides that trauma to protect you, pushing it way down into your subconscious so you don't have to deal with the pain every day, that unconfessed pain is legally gathered by the prosecution. They use that hidden pain as an open door, a legal right to step right into your life and establish jurisdiction over you. Section 3. The Earthen Altar, your sovereign domain. So where is this intense legal battle actually taking place? It's not happening up in the clouds. It's happening directly inside of you. The sources define this internal space as the Earthen Altar, representing the human heart and mind. Basically, it's your sovereign domain. The texts emphasize that dominion starts with the person you see in the mirror. God speaks to humanity king to king, meaning he speaks directly to your spirit, your free will agent. You are literally the reigning monarch of your own mind. Because you've been given total sovereign authority to rule over your own mind and body, your physical self acts as this earthen altar, where your daily decisions and spiritual sacrifices are made. And because you're the monarch, well, you are ultimately legally liable for what happens in your domain. Which brings us to a really challenging question presented in the text from Amos chapter 3, verse 3. Can two walk together except they be agreed? This hard truth forces us to deeply examine our own internal domain. It's essentially the ultimate gotcha question the prosecutor uses in the courtroom. Are we actually agreeing with God's kingdom policy, or are our hidden sins secretly agreeing with the prosecutor's case? The sources make it undeniably clear here. Every single action, every withheld confession, every brushed over habit is a subtle legal agreement with one side or the other.
Section 4. The power of forgiveness. Dismantling the case.
Okay, let's look at how this builds into an actionable strategy. If the prosecutor has all this evidence stacked up on his desk, how do you actually dismantle his case? The sources point to the immense, literal power of forgiveness. To clear those documents, the material insists we must legally release the evidence. And this isn't just a simple checklist. It's a descending scale of burden. It involves letting go of massive, heavy stuff, like generational and historical trauma, or profound personal abuse and deep hurts, all the way down to those daily grievances and the anger you hold on to in traffic, along with any unconfessed hidden sins. The sources note that when you harbor rage and unforgiveness, it eventually just spills out of you because it literally can no longer be contained. So, why is forgiveness the answer? Because legally disarming the prosecutor means removing his jurisdiction. You have to release all this hidden evidence as a heavy but absolutely necessary sacrifice of forgiveness on your earthen altar. Doing that literally rips away the legal footing the adversary uses against you.
Section 5. Wiping the record clean, the standard of obedience.
This brings us to the final step of our docket today, understanding the absolute requirement outlined in the texts for wiping the spiritual record entirely clean. The sources cite Zechariah chapter 3, verse 7, which establishes the strict kingdom policy standard of conditional obedience. It means that God's protection and a fully cleared record actually require us to faithfully walk in his ways. It's not just a one-time plea deal, it's an ongoing daily commitment to the rules of the court. The texts warn that judgment always starts at the house. In legal terms, this means accountability begins directly with those who claim to know the rules of the court and follow this policy. You're held to the absolute highest standard of accountability when you claim to walk in those ways. For those wanting to dig deeper into the intricacies of this fascinating source material, the texts direct learners to courtsofheavenministries.org. But to wrap up today's explainer, I really want to leave you with a profound question based on everything we've just unpacked together. When you look at your own life, your habits, and those deeply hidden hurts, who currently holds the legal rights to your earthen altar? And are you ready to clear your record today? Thanks so much for joining me, and keep examining the evidence presented in your own life.